All right, Sanket, good morning. This is the
Good
first
morning.
time we're sitting together and doing a
Doing a
live
live
stream.
event.
Yeah, exciting. Well, first of all, welcome to the US. And, I don't think we've done this before. First time. I guess this is the first time for everything. All right, so we're going to be, I guess, talking about all the new things which the team has put out.
Yeah,
Um, let's get into it. Yeah, what do you
right
say?
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's put some slideware which our marketing team has put together. Thank you, marketing team, for doing that. So let's talk about the new capabilities which we are announcing today. Um, I think this is going to be really important for enterprise customers who really care about uh, security, how they move configuration and deploy changes into their different environments. As you know, as we've talked to multiple customers, there's a real pain point with regards to moving configuration from different environments. What used to be pretty flexible in the data center environment and server environment
It's
is
challenging now in
it's
cloud.
right. And so maybe you want to just talk about some of the new tooling which we are unveiling today.
Yeah. So basically, this time we are focusing big on the overall configuration management and deployment, right? Throughout last year, what we heard from customers was backup and restore, great, that's good. But what happens when you want to move that configuration across different environments? And this is one of the most common tasks, and admins basically struggle with that, right? What I mean by deployment in this case is, I'll give you an example. I was talking to one of our customers, and that customer mentioned, I have a team of 10 to 12 admins, and all these group of admins, different admins, they own different environments. One environment is UAT, the other one is basically dev environment, one is like sandbox kind of setup, and then there are a couple of production sites. So every admin or couple of admins, they own these different environments. And when any business unit, business group comes in, they ask for any changes. Every individual will go and test out their changes in different environments, and they'll pass on that responsibility to the other group to promote it to different, maybe staging environment or dev environment, right? Today it's kind of real manual task where admins have to literally document a lot of things, pass it on to the different teams, and then move the configuration changes from one side to another side manually, right? Most of the part is manual, few things can be automated, right? So what we are doing this time is, we are basically enabling these admins to take this configuration from one environment, one side to another side with ease. Right now, what you need for that is, you need to have good visualization, you need to understand what changes were made in one environment and what changes are to be moved across. And specifically, again, the idea is, rather than moving everything, can we move at granular level, right? I just need one workflow and maybe all the objects connected to that workflow. So that choice of picking granular objects make it much more flexible and scalable for these enterprise customers, right? So that's what we are doing at very high level.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think let's do a demo. Let's show what the new capabilities which the team has built out. Maybe let's finish up the slideware because slideware also is important. Let's finish that up and then let's get into demo mode. Um, I think the key problems which you just highlighted, right? Managing multiple environments, multiple configuration, copying things. I know uh, if you take a project with all its configuration, bunch of custom fields, all the options,
Yes,
copying
that's
all of them over, documenting all of that, uh, I'm sure people, it's pretty
and
painful.
there are a couple of options out there which basically can move configuration, but again, you run into a risk of duplicating those
That's right.
configurations, right?
That's right.
It creates another mess of cleanup and cross linking and whatnot. So it's
I,
complicated.
I'm pretty sure all the admins, whenever they watch this video, they're all familiar with the underscore migrated object,
Yes.
which gets added onto when you copy things from
Yes.
one environment, or even when you migrate, right? When you go from DC to
Oh, that's another pain point, and specifically given what is happening in Atlassian ecosystem, big migrations are happening right now. Phase one was done, most of the customers were moved. Now, phase two, you have enterprise customers which are basically being migrated from DC setup to cloud. And in that phase, again, the challenge is how do you move multiple sites from that enterprise account to a staging environment in cloud, clean up the data, verify everything came over, and then again push it into the production site, cloud production site, right? So yes, there are good tools, good support from Atlassian to move from DC to Sandbox. But in that process, again, a lot of configuration objects are kind of messed up. Again, you mentioned underscore migrated string, which is another headache for admins to clean up, right? So that's something again. What we are doing is we are focusing on those kind of use cases where we can help you move config during that migration process from sandbox to prod or multiple other sites where you keep verifying, refining, and not only just migration but also cleanup, right? Getting insights into what data you have, what configuration you have, what are the stale configuration objects, building those deep reports. That basically is what we are focusing on. So the overall migration process is simplified.
right. Yeah, I mean, I know, I think, we both have talked to multiple prospects, customers, and we know how painful it is for them, especially in the large enterprise. All right, so I think just to call out what are we launching today. One is this deployment solution. Actually, I would argue that a lot of these features have been there, but we've added something a little bit different, which is going to be very helpful, especially for, I think, customers who are in
Enterprise setup. Yeah.
enterprise and they're in under regulatory. There are some compliance requirements
Yes.
which where they have to have separation of duties and so on. I think the second thing which we're going to be two new apps, one for Jira, one for Confluence. Essentially, bring your own storage. There are customers whom we have talked to many times where they want to have complete control of their data. Right now, some of our early customers have been using this, and they're also using it in a very different way, not just for backup. So imagine having you have your money. I guess I'll equate money to your data, because that is the new value, which the new currency, I would argue. If you put it in the bank, your money is sitting there securely in the bank, but it's not doing anything for you, right? So backup is kind of something like that. You put your money in the bank, it's sitting there. Of course, very important thing from a risk management perspective. If there's a disaster, you know where to go and get it back, right? So that's all good. But what more can you do? We have some of our customers who are actually taking that backup data and reusing it in other Gen AI type of applications. So imagine you got your data lake, which contains all your Jira data, your Confluence data, maybe Salesforce, maybe Zendesk.
Every enterprise today is trying to do that, right? Trying to build their own Gen AI, where different data sources or whatever they have in their ecosystem, they want to put in one place, right? So that's a pretty common theme which is evolving.
Right now, having the data lake, making it really easy to build that data lake out, this becomes in my opinion, an
Massive
enabler,
game
right?
changer. Yeah.
Customers now don't have to worry about that connector which is pulling this data and putting it somewhere, and also you don't have to have multiple copies of the same data, right? Why do you want to do that? You have your backup data, you're reusing that same backup data to feed to your Gen AI, crawlers and so on, so that all the data is indexed, and so multiple users with bring your own storage. We'll get into more in just a bit. And the last one, this has been, I guess, my pet peeve with the engineering team, because I heard from some of our customers and uh,
Well
well,
wishes.
who've been saying, our Confluence backup solution is better than yours. Yeah, of course, we both are competitive. We can't let that go. So I think adding in all these other additional capabilities to our existing Confluence backup solution is probably something which our customers will like. Plus, it's a value add. I think.
Jokes aside, I mean, that's the funny part. You keep pushing each other, but the most important aspect of this Confluence Insight feature is most of our customers were used to what we do in Jira, and these are the pain points they didn't even realize those are there in Confluence. And after looking at Jira Insights, they're like, hey, you know what, can the same thing happen in Confluence? Can I lose my pages without me knowing all the details? Can I lose spaces without me knowing all the details, right? Can you please go build something like that? And that's what really pushed us towards building those deep insights into Confluence, where it basically revolves around your pages, your comments, your attachments, and spaces information. What is happening? Is someone deleting my content? Is someone archiving my content, right? And it's from data resiliency point of view, it's one important thing. But when it comes to audit, that's the bigger impact, right? Admins today are not able to show all the details to auditors in a very well formatted manner. Yes, there are bits and pieces available scattered all over the place, but now they have one view where they can confidently show, hey, you know what, this content was either archived or deleted at so and so time frame by so and so person. So that is massive.
Right. I mean, again, from our perspective, the goal is to have parity, Jira and Confluence. I believe, we have more analytics coming in on the Confluence side to make our solution not only just from a, I guess, data insurance perspective,
So admin tool
admin
now.
tool, right? We want to be that Swiss knife for admins, being, be it a Jira admin or a Confluence admin, or maybe we should just say Atlassian admin. We are always there to help them out. All right, so maybe let's maybe just give a sneak peek of, or actually it's live, so there's no more sneak peek. Anybody who wants to try it out can get a view, but maybe we can go into a quick demo mode. Sanket,
Maybe
you're all set in doing that. Let me flip the cameras, I suppose.
Yep.
And add. There we go.
Awesome.
Oh, but I just want to ask you one thing before we get into more details out here. What's the story about this orange car which is sitting out there?
Oh, so this is something interesting right now. I'm pretty sure most Atlassian followers have tracked this from day one, but those who kind of missed it in a way, what Atlassian did was they started getting into a very bigger space in terms of, hey, can we go and partner with maybe Formula One teams, right? So in Feb, Atlassian basically announced that they are title sponsors for Williams team. And now, basically, they are working very closely with that team and their title sponsor, right? So, what we are saying is, hey, you know what? For this year, again, in Anaheim, Team 25, our theme is going to be
About F1.
F1.
But jokes apart, I think there are a lot of similarities. What enterprises from a risk management perspective, data protection, how F1 teams, do a lot of risk management. I mean, if you think about the driver, they're driving at whatever 200 plus miles an hour. How do they manage the vehicle without going and crashing? And what are the different safety mechanisms which they put in? I think there are a lot of parallels which we can learn from and draw from, which have connections to what we do. And I was really excited. I think you're an F1 fan. You've been following all the different teams, and so I don't know if people can see this on the live stream too. There's we have all the F1 gear and kind of
we are a pit crew now. And I'm pretty sure our team is like, oh, only these two guys are getting all the fun. So these jackets are gonna go back to the team, as well as what we are going to do is at Anaheim, at Team 25, we have a lot of these jackets to give away. So something you should be looking forward to.
Right. All right, let's get more into it. Maybe you want to touch upon the key things which we're introducing in terms of deployment, and some of the maybe we can just talk about the RBAC part of it, right?
And
Because
that's pretty important, right? Even before we talk about deployments, that feature has been around in some shape and form in our product as of today. But what is changing massively is that ease of the overall UI flow. And even before that, the most important aspect that was in a way missing in our product was Revyz access control, right? So access control for the bigger teams, enterprise teams, where every individual has their own responsibilities in different environments, like admin, couple of admins will own dev environment, couple of admins will own staging, UAT, and then couple of them would own production, right? So these admins typically have restricted access into different environments, but still they want to achieve this goal of moving configuration from one site to another site, right? Again, I keep using words like site and environments. Both are same in a way from context point of view. Different teams use different words, but the idea is you have one environment, one site where you have certain configuration which needs to be moved, right? Now, with this new feature, what is going to happen is this app can be open to anyone who is not even admin in Jira setup. Till today, only Jira site admins or org admins were able to access Revyz. Revyz was not even shown under this app section, so other users were not even aware of that, right? Now, what we did was we made it available to all the users, but the gateway, the access control can be managed, who can really access. So what you can define is you can define a group of admins or users who can actually do certain things in the app. Like, for example, who can initiate the backup, who can even access that app itself, right? Or who can go ahead and request for a clone job. So, what happens is when you're trying to move configuration from one side to another side, I would say, hey, Wish is not supposed to move that configuration object from this environment, right? Only Sanket should be able to do that. So now Sanket would be part of one of the groups where Sanket can actually go ahead and request for that clone job. And then probably Sanket will not have permission in the other environment to go ahead and let that job trigger, right? So in that case, the job will get triggered, but it won't go through, right? Because now Wish is the approver, Wish is the owner in the other side, where he can come back, look at the job, it's waiting for approval. Oh, for some reason my laptop is going crazy, but yeah, okay. So Wish says, hey, I'm going to review your requested changes, and I'm good with those changes, or maybe I'm not okay with those. Let me accept or reject this request. So that is the massive flow change that we are introducing, who can literally request or approve these clone requests across environments.
Just to put in a little bit of a context around this would be, I think some of our customers have these requirements on who could be the developer and who is the deployer, especially I think financial services or any regulated industry. I would say when you're making changes to your software or your tooling, there is somebody who's the developer. It has to go through a approval process, a change management process, and after that, somebody who puts it into your development environment is a different set of people, right? They are maybe wearing maybe the same person wearing a different hat. So I think this is where this is going to be massively useful for them. It'll help them address their compliance, requirements, right? Yeah. And I think some of the capabilities which we had before, just talking through them. We've always had version control. The fact that we are taking a copy of your configuration every day is your version control system. Yeah. We had a workflow, how it goes. Now that workflow has been enhanced significantly with this. And
in fact, I would like to add on this one. traditionally what I've seen is, and again, innovative way, what admins did or developers did was they leveraged Git systems where they used to type in a lot of code for Jira deployments. Where they used to say, hey, you know what? Probably this workflow is should be configured like this, so and so, right? And whenever they wanted to promote changes, again they would go make some changes because now they want some guarantees that even if I mess up, I have some version control system in place. But unfortunately, with Jira configuration, that's not very scalable, right? It's like a lot of efforts you have to put in, and only enterprises can put in those efforts. They have
Right.
resources. But another viewpoint that we have on this one is, can we eliminate those efforts? Can we just bring no code kind of
Mm.
platform where you can simply stick to your Jira UI, make your changes over there, and come back to Revyz, see what those changes are, because now Revyz can actually show you what are the exact differences between maybe two workflows, two screens, or two fields, or context, whatever it is, right? So now giving those visual analytics and visual inputs to admins to understand what my system is doing in as compared to different versions, that helps in overall deployment process, right? So I would say that's what this deployment analytics is all about.
Right. Right. Um, all right. I think we are well underway. Again, just reiterating the importance of role-based access control, again, separation of duties, providing a more robust way to mitigate unauthorized deployments. I guess, having a clean audit log of who did what. I think that's probably the basic stuff. But I think, while it may seem very simple, role-based access control, but it has a huge impact on how teams operate, how the developer team, how does the deployment team, how does the compliance team. I think it gives a more robust solution for large enterprises. Okay, so that was a big thing on the deployment side. Maybe we can just get into talking about what are the other things which we're doing in terms of new apps. I guess our marketing team kind of built this live stream as announcing two new apps. So I think that the two new apps which we are announcing today are again, our existing Jira and Confluence apps, but with these two new apps, the customers can store their data in their own
Cloud
storage.
storages.
Right, right. So, and the cloud storages which are going to be supporting right off the gate is going to be Azure and AWS. Again, there are a lot of advantages for customers. One of the advantages which we talked about is with regards to enabling the customers to be able to do more, meaning they can go and use the data which is stored for multiple other users. They could use it for their Gen AI applications and so on. What I would want to do now is just show how the architecture looks like when we talk about this bring your own storage model. Yeah, there we go. So or maybe you want to just talk through this part.
So again, it's pretty straightforward. What we started with was pretty much pure SaaS offering, where customers didn't have to manage anything or on their end, right? So for example, our data manager for Jira or Confluence apps, those are like pure SaaS offerings. You just subscribe and everything is taken care of. There's no hidden price, there's no hidden cost for you, no people cost, no infrastructure cost, nothing, right? That was our first offering. But then as we learned from enterprise customers, what is going on with enterprise customers is they're sure happy with SaaS offering, but at the same time, they want to honor their regulations, whatever regional regulations are there or compliance requirements are there, right? And now these customers are forced to probably find different innovative solutions around it. Like someone wanted to export regularly, they're fine with SaaS offering, but they want to keep exporting that data and keep another copy with them, right? Which is for them very painful. Now customers were like, sure, even if you build export capability, for me it's going to be pretty painful because I have to catalog, I have to manage so many versions. It's not going to work for me in long term, right? Short term sounds good. Then what we were like, okay, if that's the case, if you're exporting keeping with you, great, you just bring your own storage. We are going to write the primary data itself that we back up into your storage, and now you're the owner. Now you tick basically multiple items in that checklist, compliance checklist, where you can show your compliance team you own the data, you hold that data with you, and you can revoke that access, revise access any given point in time, right? So one of the big use cases, bring your own key, so that customers can control the overall data access which vendors have in their SaaS setup, right? But instead of going through that key process and everything, now the solution basically, as you can see, customer themselves, they own the bucket, they own the data, they can cut off that access at any given point in time, right? Another benefit is basically they can do n number of things with that data itself. In case of disaster, they still have access to raw data. In case of, let's say, peacetime, which is most of the time, you can extract value out of that data by probably pushing it into your own data lake, running your Gen AI crawlers, and so on, right? So these were different ideas and inputs that customers had for us. And the only thing that we are doing with these two different apps is basically either it's Revyz storage or either it's your storage. All other features, typically what happens is if you do something hybrid like this, vendor is forced to revoke or remove certain features, limit certain features, because now you can't do all the SaaS magic on your side, right? But the best part with this architecture is Revyz will continue to offer exact same features, same parity across both the apps. Only difference is the data is with you. So that is another important thing that we did with this, right? I would like to add one more thing, because one enterprise customer last week I was talking to, he was like, hey, you know what, if there's some attack, if something happens, the very first thing is attacker typically get rid of this backup solution. And traditionally in on-premise, what happened was, since the servers were there in data center, customers data center, those were the first target. The data used to be impacted right over there, right? And then recovery became difficult.
If you recall, Sanket, this goes back to, let's see, 2019 or 18. I think this was, we can't name the customer, but if you recall, this was a large infrastructure Canadian company who got hit by ransomware. And what happened? What was the first thing? Oh, they were using our,
one of the data center competitors.
Our back then starts with a V. Let's give that as a hint. And they went and wiped out all the backups, and so they were pretty much in a bad state. So a lot of times this question comes up. If you're just checking a box and saying yes, I'm backing up data, I think the real question to ask is, if you're not able to restore it back, what's the point? Why do you want to even spend that money in backing up your data, right? And that's what happened in that back then, right? Somebody had put a checkbox saying, yeah, we're backing up our data, but when the time came, they could not access it. On the other hand, the other solution, which our ex-employer drew, that solution, the data was kept in AWS. It was all safe.
Robust.
Yeah, it was robust. Air gap, which is a big buzzword, but it's been around for a while. And they were able to recover the data back seamlessly. Right?
And with that variation, again, the customer had this exact same question: what if the data is in my environment and that's the first thing which gets attacked, maybe encrypted, maybe someone deletes it, right? So now, basically, with modern storage offerings, previously you had storage boxes which could be targeted easily and so on, right? But now with AWS Azure kind of offerings, what you can do, at least for example with AWS, is you can put a data lock. And now customers are smarter, security teams are even smarter, right? They know, they come to SaaS vendors and ask, hey, are you putting in immutability in place, data locks in place, and whatnot, right? So with they owning the S3 bucket now, for example, they can deploy all these robust security mechanisms, who can access it, who can control it, and basically putting in that data lock, be it governance mode, be it compliance mode. They define that the data is not going to go away till they really want it to happen.
Right.
And again, it's going to take some time if you put on governance mode and compliance mode, right? So that's how basically we are thinking about this.
Right.
So
I have maybe I have two things which come to. One is not controversial. The other one is a little bit controversial. We'll see where the conversation leads to. One is just a use case. So if you recall, a financial services customer based out of the Middle East, they operate in Europe and in the Middle East. I believe that's where their primary
that's an
operations
interesting use case,
right?
yeah.
And they, for a compliance requirement or a need, they have to store their data in the primary region which they operate, which is Dubai. And given that they do a lot of business in Europe, they need to also make sure that all European related data, customer data, is stored in Europe. So how do you achieve that? You need to show that to your auditors and your regulators. And so this is a feature which tremendously helps them, wherein their data can be now stored in any region they want. And I believe AWS has this feature, auto replication, where you can now store the data in, I guess, n number of AWS supported data centers, right? Even the data centers which we don't support, we do not support the UAE as a backup region.
That's
but
a bigger
right,
advantage of this.
right. So, but it also allows us to scale and help customers out who are operating out of various different regions around the world. I've lost count of how many data centers or regions AWS has and Azure has. I think this just gives the control to customers. Okay, now the controversial part. So, I'm pretty sure Atlassian won't like me saying this, but yeah, this is reality out there. So there are customers who have been coming and asking us, hey, how do we move back to data center? Kind of odd. We are a cloud-only company, and we are talking about moving back to data center. Well, I think in that scenario, what we can say is, look, we can give you a backup data. You put it in whichever environment you want. It's at the end of the day, it is your data. It is machine readable, meaning it is in JSON format. You can write whatever scripts you want and put it into any other system.
I would be quite on this one. There are so many possibilities smart minds can
figure it out, right? But anyway, I just wanted to let the people thinking or attending this this session think about what are the possibilities out there. All right, let's maybe get back to our other capabilities which we have today on the list. So let me put that slide back again. All right, so this is bring your own storage. Actually, before we go into bring your own storage, maybe we should go back to
this is massive.
This is a huge thing for third-party app data backup. You want to talk about it?
Okay, so something again, enterprise customers have been pushing us. Typically, what happens is if there's a big setup, multi-site setup, customers have a lot of third-party plugins to make their setup maybe more robust. A lot of logistics go in that, right? Probably for smaller customers, they have handful of apps. That's great, but those are sufficient for their operations, right? When you get into bigger sites, typically apps like workflow extension apps, right? It can be script runners, it can be JMWE, JSUs, JWTs. There are so many options out there. These enterprise customers build their solutions heavily on these apps, right? Because that can help them customize their setup to their requirements, right? But at the same time, when it comes to, let's say, disaster recovery or uh, configuration management, it becomes more complicated because now they have so many integrations going on. Moving everything across two different sites, especially, is a painful process. Half of it can't be even achieved, but whatever you can is a manual process, right? So now what we are basically getting into is, after, let's say, last 3 years of investment in backup and like understanding that ecosystem well, it's time to move on and actually focus on these third party apps, because now that's the bigger pain point.
Wait, I thought you're going to say, when you said the word move on, I was thinking you're going to be saying something else.
Move on into the more advanced use cases, move into the real massive pain point that these enterprise customers have, right? So again, I'll go back to our primary message. We are focusing on enterprise. We are going to get deep into what their problems are, and wherever we can solve those problems, we are going to get into that. BYOS, if you see, that's an enterprise problem today. Third party apps, sure, everyone has this problem, but majorly deployments and third party metadata handling is an enterprise problem today, right? So what we are doing is we are getting into these apps, we are seeing how we can collect that information, how we can move that information, but most importantly, what insights we can pull out of that, right? For example, you have X-ray has so much of rich test management data. Sure, X-ray offers excellent analytics in their view, in their UI, but can we do something more with that? The idea is, when admins look at our UI, they're going to see much more richer information from, let's say, migration point of view, from disaster recovery point of view. We're not competing with X-ray, but from different perspective, what rich information you're going to see, insights. That's what we are going to get into.
Uh, I know. I'm just looking at my phone out here, and I'm seeing a message come through from. Let me put it in a different way. The question which has come: when is Zephyr going to be added in?
Yes.
You know who's
Yes.
asking that question. Uh, how do you want to respond back to adding in Zephyr into our support out here?
I would say baby steps.
Okay.
These are baby steps for us. Like I said, we're getting into that space. We are moving on, as in, we are not leaving backup. We are getting deep inside that, right? So, as per feedback, what we saw was, okay, script runner X-ray is the primary thing right now.
Oh, you can't say primary for X-ray, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're offending some people out here.
Sure, but given our feedback, we're prioritizing these apps at this point in time. But Zypher, definitely that is on our list. Maybe once we take these baby steps, we'll get into
Sure.
a lot of other apps like Zypher, and there are so many others, right?
Maybe let's get into the Confluence part next, and I think we're almost there at the end of it. So, uh, uh, you know, a lot more analytics coming in. One of the first steps which you're talking about is giving you a viewpoint of where data is getting destroyed. Whether it's a blog which is being removed, whether it is page which is or a space. A lot of analytics which are going to be coming in. This is just the start. There's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
I think the whole goal out here is to have our Jira and insights and our Confluence insights to be in parity. I think one of the features which a lot of people really like with Jira, at least, is our ability to compare configuration across different dates. Everything was working before the long weekend hit. You come back after the long weekend, things are not working. How do we quickly tell what has changed? I think those kinds of capabilities is something what we've planned out to be putting in even in Confluence. Um, and maybe the last part, just to reiterate, um, we are also going to be supporting Atlassian app editions. We probably can't talk too much about it, but we've already built in support in our apps for the app editions capabilities, which are going to be rolling out over the next, I guess, next 6 to 9 months. This is going to be more flexible to customers depending on their use cases, what features they want. Single app supporting multiple different capabilities depending on what your needs are. You don't have to have multiple versions of our app, and that's what we have done so far, right? That's why we have a configuration management app, we have a data manager. We can probably pare it down and have fewer apps, and just licensing based pricing. I think that's a really good thing which Atlassian is going to be introducing. So thank you, Atlassian, for getting this
I
out.
would like to call out, yes, Atlassian. I think this is the one of the massive offerings for marketplace partners, not only Revyz, but all the marketplace partners. I think this was a long time ask. Team heard us and delivered that. So a big kudos to entire Atlassian team to
Especially the
make this
marketplace
marketplace
team,
team.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much what we have for today. I think this just to wrap this up. I
Why,
think
Vish,
again,
why do I think that you don't want to end this session? You're like, oh my god, I can speak, I can go on for too long.
you
You're like,
know,
oh my god, I have to just close this one.
no, you came in 10 minutes before from where you were, and then we got set up. Uh, I was like, okay,
Maybe 10-minute session,
yeah,
maybe
I thought
15-minute
it's going to be
session.
a 10-minute session, right? And we're almost 45 minutes in. I guess we can continue to talk. uh, but I think we got to get to our next appointment with meeting, I guess, an important customer next. So just to close on, I think there are a lot of new capabilities which have launched and mainly focused on the enterprise. Helping enterprise customers with their deployment challenges. Of course, we've been doing data protection for 3 years now. We are enhancing uh, or broadening the scope of the data protection in the Atlassian context itself. Um, and then, of course, uh, giving more security, or I would say I'll call it perceived security options by having bring your own storage. But I think it actually unlocks new use cases to the customer. The Gen AI use cases, being more compliant if you want to put your data in multiple different regions. And of course, we want to take the data and take it wherever else. I think that's another way to kind of think about it. So I think those are the key things which we are announcing today. There's a press release which is out there. For the folks on LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining in early this morning and listening to us. We're really excited. We're looking forward to hopefully seeing all of you all at Team 25, which is what is it, about 8 days or 10 days away. And you know I think there'll be a lot of F1 related theming going on out there. So really excited to be a part of that. With that, I'm going to maybe any closing thoughts, Sanket, which you want to.
I think this is just we are getting started with the next phase of our apps, right? So please give it a try. Your feedback is important to us. If you think you have some inputs for us, please do ping us. We would like to catch up with you. We would like to talk to you, understand if there's something different that we can do, there's something new that we can do. So I would always say that there's a lot for us to learn from you guys and probably cover that in our app, make your lives easy. So if there's any feedback, please let us know. We would like to catch up with you.
All right. With that, we'll close down the session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sanket, for
Hey.
coming in.
For having me.
All right.